he might not score touchdowns, okay, but he could get 100+ yards for you, and in whatever he might get on in receiving too, if you're in a PPR league. So Montgomery's not the worst flex play if you're out there. I would say there's a lot worse options given what this defense is designed and will allow.
Oh, I would much rather play Montgomery than Tariq Cohen in this game for sure. I mean, some people may anticipate that, the Bears would have to come behind and pass the ball more, which works in Cohen's favor. But listen, Anthony Miller is healthy for this game. It's Taylor Gabriel that's going to miss. And Anthony Miller is much more of the type of receiver that Tariq Cohen is, the intermediate routes, the underneath stuff. So if it was Anthony Miller going to miss this game, sure, I'd be all over Tariq Cohen. But it's not, and I'm not. So I would not recommend Tariq Cohen.
I will say this about Cohen, just for people out there that keep wanting to hang on to him because of his value. I was high on him. For whatever reason, this coaching staff has not tried to put him in and do anything with him. And he's just like, I don't know if they're going to trade him, if there's something's going on, because the kid is shown he's really talented when you get him the ball. And you look at their entire season, look at his stat line, look at the game. He's non-existent. They have done nothing designed in this offense to use him, period, all season. He is completely unrosterable. He's completely unplayable. It's not because he doesn't have the talent or he couldn't do it. They won't give him the ball. They won't even try. So I don't know why at this point you're even hanging on to him or we even consider him, because they've shown it's week 15. They're not using him. They're just not. They even when he's on the field, they're not even looking his way, period. There's nothing designed for him.
On the Packers side of the ball, obviously Aaron Rodgers didn't have a big game last week because Aaron Jones was getting it done so well. I don't expect necessarily the same thing. I think Jones is going to have a tougher day and Rodgers will be asked to do more. So you can play Rodgers with a little bit of confidence today, especially knowing he's at home against a division rival, a little bit of fire under his ass there. Devontae Adams has been limited all week in practice, but he's coming into this game without an injury designation. So even though I'm not expecting a Devontae Adams game of past where he gets 2 touchdowns and 100+ yards, he's still good for a touchdown. He's still good for probably about 8 to 10 targets. So you're playing Devontae Adams regardless. Jimmy Graham has a wrist/groin injury, but he's going to play. I think there's better tight end options out there, but if you have to play Graham, then so be it. Aaron Jones, a great play as usual. If he doesn't get it done on the ground, he's going to get you points through the air. As far as secondary receivers go, you're playing with fire every week with Green Bay, but it seems like Lazard is the way to go. Guys, I certainly have no problem picking your Packers, and I have no problem taking them to cover. Had the spread stayed at the original 7.5, I would have had a tough time. But since it's down to 4, I'll take the Packers to cover at home.
So my biggest thing is Kevin Pierre-Louis is playing. Then you have Nick Kwiatkowski. And he's filled in nicely for Danny Trevathan, but both inside linebackers are out with Raquan Smith and Danny. The whole second level of that defense is going to be open. I just don't have anything to sit there and say, oh, yeah, they're going to step up and make plays. And Rodgers and this offense has utilized the tight ends heavily these past couple weeks. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to see Jimmy Graham, Tanyan, Jay Sternberger, Lewis all get maybe 3 or 4 catches apiece in this game because of how much tight end heavy run sets we've been using. We've been running 3 and 4 tight end sets for play action fake, and the tight ends have been there. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see if you got a Green Bay tight end, folks. I'd play him because there's a chance he's going to be getting a touchdown today.
Another thing I do want to say, playing on top of Jay's point that he made about Tariq Cohen, he couldn't be more right. When you're talking about Matt Nagy and a coach who was brought here because he's supposed to be so innovative and, the new era of coaches who's going to get these guys just out in space and just destroy you with his scheme. Look, he's got one of the most versatile players in the NFL in Tariq Cohen. As you said, Jay, hasn't used him at all. And they made such a big stink out of bringing Cordero Patterson in this season. And he's also another versatile player who they've barely used at all. So I'm pretty disappointed in the Bears season and just the way they haven't been able to use it. I don't know if they're trying to over-scheme, maybe get a little bit too fancy and it doesn't work out or what. But between Patterson and Cohen, it's just been a real bummer.
Yeah, but the thing about it is Cohen was a star his rookie year 2 years ago when he was in a much simpler, unfancy system with a defensive-minded head coach,
Right.
Mike Smith. And Cordero Patterson, I'm sorry, the Patriots lined him up in the backfield and ran power with him. Like, come on, you don't, like, this idea that we need to scheme for him is ridiculous. Like, the fact that you can scheme should mean these two players who have been in much simpler offenses and used in much simpler ways, if you put them in a scheme like this, should be stalwarts and really be making big play after big play for you, because let's be real, they're pretty damn good players in what they did as niche players in much simpler offense. Like, come on. Cordell Patterson lined up last year running power in an I formation or in a single back. Like, are you serious? And he still gained yards. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the disappointment to me is like, it's not like they were using him in all these double reverse in New England and all this. Like, he's shown, like, dude, he doesn't look like it, but he can still gain you some tough yards in between the tackles if you block well, and he's wiggling. Like, that's what I don't get about these guys. Why did you go pick them up? Why are they on your roster and you're not utilizing them, even in the simplest ways? Just because they can do it. So that's the disappointment here.
If you want to play in fantasy today, guys, after watching week one, I know week one is a ways away in what we saw, but that was with a healthy offensive line, and the Packers defense still got 4 sacks. They had a turnover that game. They held the Bears offense to 3 points. I don't think they hold them to 3 points again, but now you have a backup right guard playing for Kyle Long that's taken over, and you have a backup right tackle. And now you're facing Zadarius Smith, who's the highest rated pass rusher who gets the best pressure rate on the quarterback, and you have Preston Smith, both double-digit sack artists. Kenny Clark has 2.5 sacks the past 2 weeks. He's finally healthy, so you're getting pass rush from all 3 phases in that defense. You're getting both sides and interior. I think you want to play Packers defense this week, folks. Amos had the interception. Kevin King dropped a clear one in week one that would have been another one, and Savage dropped another one. So I'm telling you.
No, that's a great transition. That's actually where I was going to go next. I'm personally playing the Green Bay's defense this week in a semifinals matchup, and it's the last of the 3-game stretch where I knew I could use them when they went to New York, when they just took on the Washington Redskins at home, and now they get the Bears at home. So this was the final game of the stretch. I don't think you're going to be able to use Green Bay's defense next week at Minnesota. But, yeah, this is a great week to use them.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, because they're going to be at Minnesota on Monday night, and they're a winning record team. So you're damn right, considering that they're 0 and they have 9 wins against non-winning record teams, and Kirk Cousins has never won on Monday night because he always does stupid shit like turn the ball over. So, yeah, I think they're playable next week.
And that wraps up the 1 o'clock games. Moving into the 4 o'clock games.
No. I didn't get to give my score. Dave didn't give his score.
I know. He just shoved us off like, here, guys, Kay, you know he wants Packers, bye. Nope, I'm sticking with my pick I had on the preview show. Actually, no, I'm going to change it by 1 point. I'm saying 31-16, not 31-17.
Update.
I think the Bears get down in Packers territory a couple times, same thing as the Washington and the Giants, and get some field goals instead of touchdowns. One thing the Packers are great at, red zone defense. One thing the Bears offense is horrible at, red zone offense.
Okie dokie. I've got it 24-13. They could score more, but I think that everybody, especially the Bears people, are underselling this defense and what it does because of numbers and stuff, and they're not watching the games. They get their turnovers. Yes, they allow the run, but it's by design because they're not doing anything to really try to stop the run. If you're not trying to stop something, I'm not going to criticize you for allowing it to happen because obviously it's being allowed to do it by design. I mean, they're still holding people to only 20.3 points on the entire season. That's pretty damn good. Statistically, that's great. They're 26th in this, they're 22nd in that, but they're number 4 in points allowed. Okay, so I mean,
Shout out to Green Bay's management for going out, and it's going to be 18 degrees with about an 8-degree wind chill today, so it's going to feel like it's 10 degrees in the stands. They're giving out free hot drinks, coffee, hot chocolate, tea to help keep fans warm. Hey, you know what? It's people that take care of the fans up there, and I love it. I
Yeah,
love that
it's
they do that.
a
You know who
great
wouldn't do it?
organization.
Jerry, Dan Schneider. That's who wouldn't do it. Horrible owners like them. Selfish SOBs. Anyways, move on to the next game. Sorry about that,
That's
Dillon. I
right.
just had to keep that out of my system.
No, I love it. Packers fans, you're obviously going to be passionate about your cheese. Gardner Minshew and the
19
Jorts
times triple X cheddar, baby.
travel to the black hole, guys. This is kind of a big moment in the NFL that I don't know if enough people are talking about. This is the last game we're going to see of a dirt infield in an NFL game. Officially the last
Sad.
game.
We all watched Oakland play at this stadium for growing up, man.
I know. As a fan, I do love to see it just because it's different, but I've heard many players over the years complain about how much it sucks to get tackled on that dirt. So as a spectator, I can't really complain, right? But that being said,
on the Homer Green with enough dirt and mud to compare, okay?
the home team Raiders are 6.5-point favorites in this one. You got a 47-point over/under. This was a game that I was super excited about having DeAndre Washington because right now the Jacksonville Jaguars are the second worst team at defending the run, currently
so
giving
bad
up
about that still.
24.1 points to the running back. This was going to be a fantastic matchup for DeAndre, who was coming off a big workload last week with Josh Jacobs out. Now it's going to be a split time scenario. So even if you play Jacobs, you're probably not going to get the numbers you would like. If you play Washington, same thing. So bummer for the Oakland backfield. However, moving into other options, Derek Carr is an interesting play. I mean, I don't know at this point if anyone is really rolling him out there. I feel like you've been able to find another option at this point. Tyrell Williams is fine. Hunter Renfro's out of this game, so he's going to be leaned on more. I like Darren Waller, especially since Hunter Renfro is going to be out. Waller has, had a real great season, kind of a dead zone in the middle here, kind of sandwiched in between. He's had a few bummer weeks, but otherwise he's really produced. I love Waller in this game. Moving to the Jacksonville side of the ball, because I don't think we really need to cover any secondary wide receiver options for the Raiders personally, unless you had something there, Dave.
Which one again? Sorry, I was checking on some updates, buddy. No, I'm sorry. I'm always on my phone on Twitter trying to make sure if anything comes out, we can put it out live.
Honestly, if you didn't have a name on standby, then I know they're not worth mentioning. So on the Jaguars, no, you're good. On the Jaguars side
a name
of the ball,
for the Raiders coming in? Not really. I mean, they've had the same people there. Waller's going to be there. You got Tyrell Williams. There's nothing really to make me go try and find someone deep there. They're going to stick to their guns. They got both running backs.
Exactly. And even Richard will probably be used a little bit.
I don't know, especially if Jacobs and Washington are both being there.
Right. On the Jag side of the ball, DJ Chark is going to miss this game, which has everyone excited about D.D. Westbrook. He's actually a pretty good play. I mean, Oakland Raiders defense is notorious for giving up yards. They give up 22 points to the quarterback, 20 points to the running back, and 25 points to the wide receiver. Even the second worst team at covering the tight end, giving up 10 points per game to the tight end. So all across the board, these Jaguar options are pretty interesting. It just so happens that they don't have too many I love. I mean, you talk about tight end, who cares who the Jaguars tight end is? They never use them. And then D.D. Westbrook is, he's a great option. I think he's probably the most exciting fantasy piece for this entire game. Chris Conley's pretty risky, especially I do not have near the cojones to start Chris Conley in a semifinals playoff matchup personally. But I know guys out there who they have no choice. Gardner Minshew, same type of thing. My balls are not nearly big enough to try to stream Gardner Minshew in a semi-final playoff match. I mean, if the Nick Foles return didn't happen and it was just Minshew momentum all the way through.
But Oakland's secondary is horrible.
It really is. It's definitely horrible. I just don't trust it, man. I feel like if you're talking about, Ryan Fitzpatrick and Eli Manning both being available, I might take them over Minshew personally.
Yeah,
Deebo Samuel,
that's a good argument.
Debo Samuel or D.D. Westbrook at